Good afternoon. It is June 2nd, 2026. It is 4 p.m. It is time for the Hanford City Council session, study session. So we'll start off with Madam Clerk. Roll call, please.
Here.
Councilmember Regan.
Here.
Councilmember Payden.
Here.
Vice Mayor House.
Here.
Mayor Kyrus.
Here. Let the record reflect that all council members are present. So we'll start with our study session action items. And our first item on the agenda is our new employee introduction. So I'm going to invite our Finance Director, Ms. Destiny Borman, to come up and make the introductions. Or introduction.
Yes. Good afternoon, Council. I am very excited and pleased to announce our new Finance Manager, Econ Franco. She comes to us from City of Exeter, where she was the Finance Director for the last 2.5 years. She also has overall about 13 years in municipal government experience, and we are excited to have her. This is our 4th week in, and she's coming back, so I think we're good.
Congratulations.
So she waited to introduce me to make sure I came back, right? I'm happy to be here. I'm glad to be serving the city of Hanford. And what else to say? I'm not doing a speech or dance or no.
Oh, yes, you are.
A dance or a song.
Well, welcome.
Welcome.
We got to meet you a couple of weeks ago as you came in, so it's nice to have you. You're probably getting settled in a little bit. Exeter's loss is our gain, so we welcome you to be part of the staff, and we're going to rely on you and the whole finance department and heavily as we move forward, especially as we get ready for the mid-year cycle review and everything else and prepare for our next budget cycle. But on behalf of the city, welcome. It's good to have you. And I love your smiles, so keep smiling. Don't get nervous. We're good. Council, any comments?
Just a big welcome. Thank you for taking the opportunity to come work in Hanford, and we look forward to working with you.
I was just going to say we have a great finance team already, and you're just a great addition. And so welcome and enjoy Hanford and all the things that we have to offer. And so welcome to our city.
Exeter's a great town, but you're going to realize Hanford's best.
Welcome to Hanford. Yeah, I'm sure the environment is going to be very pleasing for you, and we have a great staff, so it's going to be a good working environment. Thank you very much.
The managers that we have working and our city manager, you're going to absolutely love working with them. It's such a great team and everything else, and everybody works pretty cohesively. You're going to love it.
Well, welcome again. It's good to see you. Thanks for being here. So next item on our study session is item B, receive an update on the It's Not Worth It campaign for the usage and possession of illegal fireworks within the city limits. And I'm glad to see that we have Chief Perkins here tonight and our new, let me get the title right. Is it Deputy Chief, which is recently new. I mean, it just happened, so.
Yeah, we can actually do this right now if you'd like.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So not a new employee, but basically a promotion, kind of a huge promotion for the department. We've never had a deputy fire chief. We've had an assistant chief way back, probably about in the 90s, so right before you started. And this is your, 25th year with the city? So 25 years with the city, promoted from battalion chief to deputy chief, and he's going to be a great addition to our repertoire of things. So glad to have him here. This is Matthew Rowe, deputy fire chief.
I have a question.
Congratulations, number one. I know the dedication that you've given our city for the last 25 years, and to see those positions come internally and to assume this role. I know you're going to take some of the burden off the gentleman sitting down there to your left a little bit, which will be helpful. So I saw it on the social media posts, and I just want to once again congratulate you. So
I have a question. Are you part of the Rowe Oil family?
No.
Oh, they're great people.
That's R-O-E?
Huh?
R-O-E?
Yeah.
It's R-O-W-E.
Oh, okay. I looked at, and I didn't see it on this, so I didn't. Okay.
Quite
Chief, welcome.
Thank you very much.
Looking forward to the update, so the floor is yours, sir.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, members of council, esteemed department directors, and anyone else present. This is our update to council regarding the It's Not Worth It campaign. This has been a labor of love over the past probably 2 years, and really particularly the last 18 months. It's gone through a tremendous number of revisions and renditions, and here we have before you tonight or this afternoon our update to that. And again, it was, as with all things, we want to remind people we are a valued-centered organization, character-driven, and we always make sure that we remind people that we do have a specific mission, specific vision, and a specific set of values, and that's why we bring these to you each and every time. We want to set the table for that, why we do what we do. So the overview in particular, the background as a requirement for things that come to council, specifically the update and our current actions. We're going to try to keep it really brief, I promise. We're going to do the B's. Be brief, brother, be brief. So here we are. I began in 2024 with the no illegal fireworks $1,000 fine. This had a lot of problematic elements to it, but we were running what we brung. This is what we knew what to do, but it wasn't quite effective. We were really stretched then. During 4th of July, we had a 25% increase in call volume across the board for both public safety elements. PD was handling a tremendous amount of calls for illegal fireworks that were just calls and complaints. So that really tied up a lot of our resources. We had 8 fires within 6 hours, which is kind of an anomaly. 6 of them were grass fires, 4 caused by fireworks, 1 vehicle fire, and 1 structure fire caused by fireworks, with extensive damage to the garage, about $55,000 worth of damage. I think you all can remember that. The only thing that saved that resident was they were in a newer home built after 2014 that had fire sprinklers. If they had not had that, because our crews were tied up on 3 other simultaneous grass fires threatening homes, the delay would have caused that home to be burnt down to the ground, probably a $300,000 to $400,000 loss. So when we talk about what are the impacts directly to the city of Hanford, this is why we started this whole process. So came back to you at the end of that. We basically received a request by city council to address the situation. So address it we did. We went through several renditions of programs over that 18 months. September of 2025, we finally came back with what looked like a workable solution. We worked back and forth over that year diligently and came up with the idea of the It's Not Worth It, and really going from a $1,000 fine to what we have now. And I don't want to reveal it yet, so we'll make it last a little bit longer. We specifically had to go in and adjust the Hanford Municipal Code, specifically to be able to stack the fines or the citations, and they are administrative citations, not fines. That's a very particular thing in this process, because an administrative citation has a lot of teeth only if you let it do what it's supposed to do. So basically, we don't need to touch it. It's going to act just like every other code violation that code enforcement oversees, and has the weight of law, and has the ability to have a fine issued on the spot, payable within 30 days, and then you'll see the process play out just like we've seen. So let it do its work is what I would say. Let it do its work. But I will tell you, the work will be a little painful. We have not had any response to this yet, but we will. We will, and we have all kinds of plans for that. So why are they suddenly an issue? Just to put it into perspective, the last time I brought this to you a year ago, the sales per year in and around the 4th of July in the United States was $2 billion. Last year, $2.7 billion in fireworks in general. There were 461 million pounds of fireworks in 2021. That's a lot of fireworks, a lot of go boom. There are distinctions specifically between safe and sane and illegal fireworks, but I want to make a real deep distinction for us all. The 3rd, the 4th, and the 5th of July, per the Hanford Municipal Code, are the only days that we are allowed to utilize fireworks in any form or fashion, and the only ones that are allowed are safe and sane on the 3rd, 4th, and 5th of July. Anything outside of that is an illegal firework. So it has the same weight. So we're hoping to push this forward as we go, and then we'll make some specific distinctions. Remember, too, that safe and sane don't explode. They don't leave the ground greater than 8 feet, and they have this seal, not a stamp, not a sticker, a seal. It's actually embossed in it, in the firework itself. It's on the packaging or on the firework itself. So if we're making distinctions, we have to be able to see that specifically. Illegal fireworks, not seen as a big deal, but again, we saw how it went from a $2 billion the year before to a $2.7 billion. They do leave the ground greater than 8 feet. They do explode, and the one thing that makes them really dangerous is an uncontrolled directional movement. Once you light it, you can't control it. It has no fins. It has no direction. It's just on wherever it goes, and it explodes wherever it wants. That's why we have a huge, huge issue with what's happening. Really, it comes down to what is the human cost. The human cost to these fireworks, and these are not local numbers. These are last year's numbers. $130 million in preventable injury. There were 11 deaths, not including the 7 that died in the fireworks explosion in Northern California. So this was United States. That equates to $142 million in loss because a human life does have a specific dollar amount, unfortunately. And that averaging that out, that's what that is. There were 14,700 injuries, and that was up 52% from the previous year. So I think these statistics are telling about why we are doing what we are doing. There is a distinct human cost to illegal fireworks.
Did you say these were national numbers or California numbers?
National numbers.
National.
These are all national numbers. California does have some very specific numbers, but I want to put it into perspective because California is an anomaly because we're bordered by a state that has the ability to have illegal fireworks, which skews all of our numbers. If we were bordered by other states that didn't have that access, our numbers would be completely different. And that's a whole other set of statistics that are not really designed for me to go through here. But if you're wondering, I can get those to you. Specifically, about on average of all of those injuries, $8,890 per injury. That's a lot of money. Sparklers, ironically, cause 12% of all those injuries. So people think, oh, sparklers, no big deal. A sparkler burns at 2,000 degrees. And of the serious injuries we've had here in Hanford, sparklers were the primary cause. They caused third-degree burns to feet and hands in both cases. And we were tied up on all of those other significant multiple fires at the same time. Loss of approximately $52 million in productivity. Basically, you can't work because your hand's blown off or your eye's blown out. And these aren't things that we're making up. These are all specifically from medical journals. The American Academy of Pediatrics is, not pediatrics, but orthopedics, is watching the firework industry very closely because they're seeing this massive spike in that 52% increase in injuries. So this is all on the radar in a much larger sense. It equates to about $325.5 million in preventable injury that we experience in the United States. What about property costs? This is a picture of one of the fireworks explosions that happened in Southern California. This is your buddy in the backyard always blowing up stuff, and then, hey, I want to make fireworks. He had, I think, 600 or 700 pounds of black powder that he was making illegal fireworks with and then selling them on 4th of July. Leveled his home and 2 other homes around him, killed him and a buddy. $142 million in preventable property loss, $4 million in direct property damage in California, which is up 400% from the previous year. In addition to that, this excludes the $10 million that was lost in the explosion of the plant where they were doing and storing the fireworks for the large-scale aerial shows. So what are we doing here locally? So our big push is to implement drones. Why drones? One of the things we found in doing all of this is enforcement is very problematic. Enforcement when we have drunken people who are there at a party, and now I'm going to ruin the party. He's going to come in and ruin the party. Hey, we want to take your stuff. Now, I don't want you to take my $3,000 or $4,000 worth of fireworks, and then the wrestling match is on. We're trying to prevent that. Our firefighters are not trained to de-escalate, and PD, quite honestly, doesn't have the time to do that, especially with a 25% spike in call volume alone. So we are basically moving all of our enforcement efforts to a drone-based program. There are many drone-based enforcement efforts throughout the United States in so many different ways. They do drone efforts like this to do code enforcement in Southern California. I know many law enforcement efforts start in the drones. We're going to utilize those elements that we've researched and vetted through other areas. We have 3 drones. This is a picture of our drone. Looks like a really big grasshopper, for lack of a better term. Kind of loud, actually, but very effective. We do have 2 licensed operators. We're going to use the footage to corroborate evidence along with people on the ground. We're going to take pictures that are on the ground when the drone, when it's flying in the air, patrolling in a public space at 400 feet. It sees a firework light off. It now is able to go to that specific area and then drop a pin where that firework came from and then start tracking. Once we get 2 or more, then we'll start the assessment of citations and move from there. So it's a very vetted process. It's not something we haven't thought through. So it's taken a lot to get here. The other nice thing is this does, through its programming and the data that comes with it and the software, tracks all of the drone's movements. And the minute it starts flying, it has altitude, its geolocation, and it integrates with our current GIS project that the city's been undertaking for the last year and a half. So all of this is all coming together to really help us show what has happened and what is happening. So someone asked, what is the financial impact and how many fireworks do we actually have going off? Before, that would have been very difficult to answer. The drones will allow us to do that because they will actually track every single aerial device that comes up, and then, okay, there's 1, there's 2, there's 4, there's 8, there's 20, there's 35. We're going to be able to track all of those and then also pinpoint by property where they came from. The key is we're having to go back onto the ground, call the enforcement group to take pictures to make sure that we're also seeing it from the ground. So we have 2 sets of evidence from the same location. The other piece is it's also tracking this with assessor parcel numbers. That's also a key element in the citation process. We have to have an assessor parcel number with the actual property owner's name so that we can issue the citation. Yes.
I see you have 2 licensed operators. Are you going to have 3? Because I see that you've got 3 drones.
We have 3 drones because basically one goes up, it runs for 30 minutes as it's filming, doing everything else. We need to bring it back down, change batteries, put the other one up. That makes sense. So it's like juggling, for a lack of a better term.
Because I mean, I know licensed drone operators that film for real estate stuff. So if you end up wanting another name to have somebody that, anyway, just let me know.
That might be helpful.
Okay.
Again, the exact coordinates are there. Then the administrative citations are created. We're not doing a lot of face-to-face with the folks unless it's absolutely necessary. Unless something's so egregious and we have hundreds of fireworks being set off from a specific location, or the drone gives us some compelling evidence, and then we'll work with our law enforcement partners to develop a plan to go do whatever we would need to do to stop that activity. But until that time, that's not our primary mission, because it's a very expensive process, and once we gather those, we have to track them, put them into evidence, and do many other things. As far as outreach, that was one of the bigger things that was given in the It's Not Worth It campaign, the 250-yard signs. You're seeing these go up as of yesterday, today. We'll see them over the next probably week or so to 2 weeks. There's 250 of these yard signs, so they'll very quickly become confetti. And that's I have some in my truck. I'd be more than happy to give them to you. I just don't want to put them on my lawn yet. My neighbors do light off illegal fireworks all the time, so they're not pleased with the fact that I'm doing this. Leaflets at Thursday Night Marketplace, that's already been gone out. Social media is well underway. If you go to the city web page or website, it talks about the It's Not Worth It campaign as a banner. Brian's been fantastic in working on the social media end of it. We're also going to be doing some additional posting on social media. We went to multiple news outlets explaining what we're doing, both in English and Spanish. So our outreach has been pretty well received. We have some other ones that are coming up with the Hanford Insider, as well as specific spots that will produce videos that will stay on the web page and the city's website. So we can have this as ongoing.
Chief, I just wanted to, probably more so a comment. I noticed on the social media posts, and they've been fantastic. So Brian, great job on that. But one thing that I'm noticing is in the comments, they're saying, well, this area of town, this is my neighborhood, and this happens all the time. So there's a lot of, intel that could be taken from there that kind of can give you like a starting place or a starting point, where to go. So those social media posts can be very telling, because in what I've heard from neighbors, that they're fed up, with the illegal fireworks, and so they're willing to notify whoever that this goes on, and so that might be very helpful for your team.
I think one of the things to maybe put out there is that we have to be very careful with this, as it's not quite its beta test, but it's its first rollout. We have to be very, very careful with focused enforcement. Focused enforcement can really be a double-edged sword. In other words, we think that this is happening over here, and because we think that, we're going to send it over there to preconceive the idea that it's happening. Whereas we really do need to let it get up in the air, let it see what's happening, and go by what we're actually seeing as factual evidence. So we're doing factual-based enforcement rather than focused enforcement on tips. And does that make sense?
Yeah, and I understand. That it just gives you an idea that this might be a point. So,
absolutely.
Just if something goes in that direction and the drone's there, you're pretty much locked.
We did have last year's data that we wanted to utilize with this, but it's a little difficult for it to merge. So we're getting all of that. We do have all of 2025's data, all the places where we had complaints. The problem is the complaints were where the address of the complainant was. In other words, who dialed 911, not actually where the fireworks were coming from. This will be, where are the fireworks actually coming from? There is it's irrefutable. It's video evidence. It's accurate within 3 feet. And it's all, even at nighttime, we can see people's faces. We can see the color of whatever clothing they're wearing. So it's going to be pretty airtight for the most part.
If you have fireworks being let off in like the middle of a cul-de-sac out in the middle of the road, how are you going to determine which APN it belongs to?
That is a sticky area because that is in the city's right-of-way. And correct me if I'm using the wrong term here. Hi, is that correct?
Excuse me. Yes, that's correct. In a lot of areas of the city, the roadway is actually owned by the city and not a private party. So fireworks that are being lit off from roadways could be problematic.
So what we're trying to do is we're trying to make sure first that we have a good GIS layer with all the known APNs. We're getting video evidence of someone on their property doing that illegal activity. Start there and make it not worth it. People, I guess that would be a loophole where you could do that. We're trying not to let people know about the loopholes. So although I would entertain all your questions, I would think deeply about the question you might want to ask so that we don't give additional people, oh, well, I could just do this and get out of it. No, there's no sorry in it. We don't know what we don't know with this because we're in uncharted territory for the most part. Other agencies have tried this and they didn't receive the support that we're receiving from their councils. So I think that's why it didn't happen. The FAQ has been developed, so frequently asked questions. It's also on the webpage. And if you look at all of the flyers or even on this, there's a little QR code. So if you snap a picture of the QR code, it goes to the FAQs, the actual illegal fireworks site. In addition to that, we have additional things that are going to be added. We have a pet safety for both dogs and cats. I'll show you an example of one in your handout. It's not on this particular one. And we also have additional information. Yeah, I think you guys would like that. And then specific updates to the web page will keep occurring. I think one of the things after talking with the city manager this morning, I think was a great idea for us to come back to you as quickly as we can with an update post the 5th of July, just with numbers, just so we can say how effective was it, how much did we do. Whether we get anything out of the citations is, I guess, irrelevant. It's not about the money. We want to make sure that people know everyone is fed up. The only way to do anything about it is to document it and put people on notice. But once people are put on notice, there is no the dog ate my homework excuse. That's going away very rapidly because that's the only loophole that exists. And once you've been put on notice, there is no excuse. It's pretty airtight. So we're following the exact same process as all the other pieces for citations or the administrative citations. Created videos and explaining the changes and all the other things that are. That is really, for the most part, what I have. We were talking about all this. Electronic forms generated, we're going to be using those. So we're using the same forms as code enforcement. And we're also collaborating with HPD. We're looking at next year doing an electronic form that kind of mirrors theirs, so all of our evidence stays in that same realm. So again, it's collaboration and cooperation that gets us to the point where this becomes effective. And I think that's really about all I have. Are there any further questions that you have for
Are
me?
you going to be going after the $10,000 fine on everybody first, or does it add up, or how?
It physically has to add up. So to give you an example, if each one of you were in a party and you're in front of someone's house on the private property, and you have 2 fireworks, and you have 3 fireworks, and you have 5 fireworks, and you have 6 fireworks, and Mark has 10, you get a 2,000, you get a 3,000, you get a 5,000, you get a 6,000, he gets a 10,000. It's about the number of fireworks with fuses and who has them in possession. And if it's only one person in their property and they have more than 10, the maximum that we can charge is $10,000 because we are a general law city, and that's the maximum amount of money we can charge in the state of California.
How are you going to know who or how if they're all at the same property?
That's the problematic piece.
Okay.
We're really trying to get it so that when we have the illegal fireworks being fired from that location, we can count them. We can say these illegal fireworks came from this property. So we're trying to take the person out of it as much as possible.
I feel like if you go after whose property is that, they're going to be like, hey, it ain't happening at my house.
It's kind of irrefutable evidence. That's the point of using the drone and enforcement efforts on the ground. We
It's
take
going to be
pictures
hard
on the
to
ground
determine that he had
and
drone
drone
evidence.
evidence.
Can we jump in a second? Mr. Mazzotti would like to jump in here.
So our current fireworks ordinance does contain provisions that allow the city to hold social hosts liable for illegal fireworks. So by using drones, GPS information, the city will be able to identify specific addresses from which illegal fireworks are being utilized, and the city can use that information and the social host provisions of the ordinance to issue citations.
Thank you.
Chief, one of my questions is, when will the selling begin in the city? I know there's a lot of nonprofits that have booths, and you mentioned that the only days to use fireworks legally is from July 3rd through 5th. Those booths, sometimes those booths start June 30th and July 1st, 2nd, and they have an extended period of time where they are selling the Safe and Sane fireworks. Mm-hmm. In your previous statement, are you saying that any Safe and Sane fireworks that is before July 3rd through 5th is considered illegal?
When they're being used, yes.
Okay, so
They have to be fired or being let off. You can buy them. Yeah, the
Okay.
window to buy them is larger than the window to use them.
anxious children want to do it, ahead of time. And I'm just going from that perspective. Are we notifying those nonprofits to notify their customers? If Sierra Pacific High School has a fundraiser and they're doing a booth, that they're open on, say, July 1, but just reminder that you can only light it from this time to this time. Just notifying them, because they may come across, well, I didn't know, that type of thing. And it kind of puts a bad blood. Just having that communication with the vendors, possibly, just to let them know that their customers, like, hey, this is when you can light them off.
Right. So we have a specific bunch of regulation that gives parameters to how many fireworks booths we can have, how the fireworks booths are issued, how the permits are done. The fire department also every single year does a vendor informational night that they're required to attend before they can actually sell the fireworks. So that particular vendor piece is going to be June 16th. So that June 16th meeting, that's when people will get there. They will be informed of all this other information, the additional parts of the $10,000, up to $10,000 fine, the It's Not Worth It campaign, as well as all the parameters for safety, who can be in attendance, how they can store that. We have a number of different things that are given all of those vendors specific to regulations within the city of Hanford.
The vendors will be notified that, you may sell on.
Yeah, they're notified every single time when they, and we require them to post all of this material on their actual site that they sell.
Perfect. And then, is there room for error when we're looking at the GIS, the APN? Can they come back in? You were mentioning that it's airtight. Is there any room for error that they could say, well, this is not my APN number, and it's.
There's always room for error. It's not going to be 100% perfect. It's accurate within 3 feet from a 400-foot distance at night. That's pretty accurate. I know that that's the rough estimate. However, with newer GIS stuff, I know it's even more accurate, but that's the general accepted industry standard of 3 feet variance. So we could theoretically have someone say, well, I'm standing on the property line. It's not my APN. Yes, I guess it's theoretical that we could, and someone could get another video expert. But I think one of the things to note in getting into the minutia of the municipal code, for someone to go through the process of saying, this is not mine, they have to put all the money of the fine up front to go through the process to fight it. So if it's not worth it to get to the point where you're even going to try to fight it, because you have to put the money up front first and then fight it. And then if you're successful, you get your money back. So it's a deposit. So, aspects of enforcement and really reminding us of, hey, sometimes we want to go out there and capture those things and confiscate them, but that's a huge risk. So why are we risking people? Let's take a different tact, maybe do it a little more safely. But that's where we have to really have those laws and the other ordinances hammered down.
Chief Perkins, I absolutely loved seeing you on KC24. In this, I will take any flack from any resident because this just has to stop. It's unacceptable that people thinking that this is somehow patriotic, terrorizing animals, ruining property, starting fires. Last year, I think there's no bigger FU in the world than putting out a fire that was lit by illegal fireworks, and there is still people lighting said fireworks off.
They were actually shooting the fireworks at the responders.
Yeah.
While they're fighting the fire.
Yeah. I think this is abhorrent behavior. You might see me get a little professionally, Ty, don't worry. This could sound scary. I might get a little more vocal online because, as you can tell, I'm very passionate about it. I hate fireworks. People, and if anything, the fireworks booth, when they're there on June 16th and they're at the vendor meeting, maybe they could be smart marketers and think, you know what, why don't I talk about this? It's not worth it, and upsell people. Don't use your illegal, spend more money here because these are legal. In terms of...
Yeah, give them a sign, too, along with that they could have at their booth.
Yeah,
we have a bunch of smaller plaques that go on their booths.
They're going to be on the booth, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then my other question, it's kind of a dark one. When you were going over the national numbers and you said 11 deaths equal 142 million, how is that just for fire, that an average life is like 12
So
million?
according to OSHA, OSHA, and there's one other one, I think it was the CDC, they put a dollar amount on a human life, unfortunately. And the range is 3.9 million to 14.6 million. So if we averaged that out and then multiplied it by 11, that would be 142 million.
You said 3.9 million to what?
I think it's 14 million, depending upon the range and what the case was. So there's a wide range of that.
Well, I think you guys are doing excellent, and anything I can do to be of help, I am all for it, because as you guys can tell, I hate illegal fireworks.
Thank you for your support.
Do you have, I know you mentioned how many drones you have. Do you have enough batteries? Because I know the batteries don't stay charged very long in them. Do you have a huge supply of batteries to keep
Each
restocking
one of the
them?
drones, I think, has four batteries, so we have 12 total batteries.
How long do with those drones, how long do their batteries stay charged?
The
And how fast do they
reasonable
recharge?
flight time maxed out is 30 plus minutes.
Okay. And how
And
long does
so
it
they would come back
take a
down,
new one to
change the
fully
battery
charge?
out, and what's that?
How long does it take a new one to fully charge?
I think it's 90 minutes, so it's 3 times as long as it is to use.
I think you guys we need to probably get more batteries for you guys, because I don't think you guys have enough.
I think that's why we'll find out. We will.
I mean,
definitely
I
find out.
would rather, I mean, I don't think the cost of them is very much and everything else. And I mean, on 4th of July and the 3rd and the 2nd and the 1st, I know, I'm one of the people and everything that lost an animal because it literally had a heart attack because of the fireworks, okay, a couple of years ago. And anyway, but I know that the fireworks go off for several days. I've got a text message in my phone from somebody that said there were fireworks going off at their house yesterday. And they live off of between 10th and Kensington, north of Terrace.
Yeah.
Okay. So, they're already doing it. I mean, my thought is you guys having more batteries, because from doing what I do, I know that's one of the things that the photographers are always taking and trying to take and make sure is that they've got enough battery time whenever they're going to take pictures of houses. So I honestly think that we need to get you guys more batteries, and I don't know who to talk to about that, but
we
you
can
guys
look
need
into
them.
that specifically and then get a price back and everything else if that's what you want us to direct us to.
I think
That's
with
within-
Kimber on that. I agree. I think that's forward thinking. Good
because it's to have batteries dead on that particular night whenever we've spent so much time, effort, and to do what you're trying to do. If the batteries
people
are
out,
dead.
staff hours as well. And maybe this question is for Chris too. Chris, is there an appropriation? I know it's within your purview under 50,000 for the batteries. So, but is there appropriations? And maybe this is a destiny question that we could look into that and get that before the 4th of July, because just not only the batteries, do we have like the housing stations to have that constant charge, and do we have?
Can I add a little context to this?
Sure.
So if you do the math, it's 6 hours worth of fireworks, 2 drones, that's 2 drones up in the air. So 2 times 6 is 12. So we have plenty of batteries to make it through the 6 hours that we typically have. That's why we planned it that way. So it's not a lack of planning. But if you want to throw money at it, I'm all about it. But I want to make sure that we're good stewards of this.
No,
I
I'm
don't
not-
want you to think that we're coming to you and saying we need additional things. My honest opinion, I think we would be better off buying banners that you put somewhere and hang them for months on end. There are better ways for us to expense the money.
No way am I
than batteries.
insinuating that you were.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
I
me
just want to
neither.
make sure if we're
but
going
I'm just like, if
look at
there is a
something to
need
do
for
with it.
batteries, we could have that appropriation to do so. But I agree with the banners, to have. But
Well,
I
and
just wanted
let
you to have
Chris-
support.
So there was a question for our city manager. Can we let him jump in? And
one of the things before he does, even taking and having another drone operator as part of it too, because two drones for a town this big and with all of the crazy fireworks that are going off. Our town looked like a war zone last year. So even if we've got three drones, I would love to see all 3 of them going. And if they have to come down for to take and switch out a battery, it doesn't take that long to switch out the battery and throw them back up.
Councilman Payton, Councilwoman Regan, Council. I think, as the chief mentioned, this year is the kickoff year for a lot of this effort. A lot of planning already has been done. So I would suggest continue to let staff plan. We appreciate the comments. We'll look into them. I'll work with chief on that. Destiny and I could work with chief on using any existing appropriations and making those decisions that may be prudent. and just to reinforce, I think council has shown the leadership here. This is a great example of a policy or a law being adopted. And now staff is carrying it out, and I appreciate that support being shown today, because staff could be doing all of this effort, and then if council doesn't stand behind staff, then it all just falls apart. So
you will get the
this is a good
pushback. Sorry.
Partnership, yes. So.
We will get the pushback. It will be very shocking when someone gets a bill from us and says your administrative citation is $8,000 or $9,000 or $10,000. Someone's jaw is going to drop, and there's going to be some phone calls. But again, we're making sure it's not worth it.
But this year, we've also put in the effort for them to have a fireworks show on that night.
Exactly.
I mean, we've given them an alternative, so I feel like we're doing our job, and we appreciate you doing yours.
Perfect. Thank you. Any further questions?
I just want to thank you, Chief. Just thank you for your efforts and what you're doing for the community to make it safer, and hopefully it'll save lives as well as injuries. And I think that's the most important part of your program. And let's hope it works, and we'll keep making it happen. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
I should open up public comment, see if anyone has anything they'd like to add. Hey, hold on, Chief. I'll let you guys get away in a second, so I just want to close it out for you. Oh, my seat just dropped. Like boom effect. So thank you both, and to the entire staff for working on this program. I know, and what I really appreciate from you, Chief, is the open dialogue we've had, the direct dialogue. Right, it's important, and I think we as a council took the right steps. This is the easy point or the easy time. It's going to get tougher as we go through this first year of enforcement and things start, the complaints start coming in, people feel that they were wrongly treated or enforcement was taken. But this first year, I think what you've done so far this year, putting this out there and getting it started is phenomenal. I think it's a great first step. I'm all in favor of let's see how this first year goes. Let's see what happens. Let's see how it works. I like my colleagues, recommendation on maybe some additional batteries or something, but those are conversations I think we can have once we get the stats back after the 4th of July weekend to kind of see how that worked out. So we've still got work ahead of us. I know the campaign is just kicking off, so for all of us to share that message, I think is critical and support the staff and the city of the steps what we're trying to take. And I know the chief and I are going to be doing a night at the Thursday Night Marketplace where we're kind of talking about this stuff as well. So keep that foremost and up front, because I think it's going to be really critical as we move forward. And then stand by, because I think it could be potentially interesting for us as the council as we move forward.
Sure, absolutely. And quick question: how would someone get signs?
I brought them for you. We'll have them made up and ready as you leave. We'll hand you as many signs as you can take home.
Yes, I have. Okay.
Perfect.
Thank you very much.
One more.
But a member of the public, if they wanted a sign to put in their yard, or are we just strategically putting in like business?
Let us do the strategic portion first and make sure we have signs at all of the booths. And then once we know that we can deliver them all after the 16th, then I'll know, okay, how many signs do we have left.
Perfect.
And we're going to have victims of flybys, and somebody's going to be making paper airplanes and hats and shelters out of them like they always do every year. So.
Thank you.
The drones that you guys have, I know that these were bought specifically to start with this campaign. Throughout the year, how will those be used throughout the year? Will they be used for other things throughout the year? Will the police department be able to use them, or will you guys be using them, or will they be just sitting there not doing anything?
So to give a tiny little bit of background and not to make this take any longer, all 3 drones were not purchased for this particular campaign. They were purchased through what's called the State Homeland Security Grant Program, which is SHISHGAP. PD or law enforcement partners have their own public safety drone that has a specific separate purpose that flies out on different types of calls. We want to make sure there's a differentiation from the fire drone and the public safety drone that PD is utilizing. Although it's a drone program and we all have a similar basis, These are a little different, and how we record and what we do with them is different. So I want to make that distinction so that we know they're all not the same. We don't interchange them. It doesn't happen like that. Although that could be something we look into in the future, but we had the drones already. We've had them for 3 years prior to this. So we needed to utilize them. That's why we're able to cut the cost down. Otherwise, the drone cost would have been about just shy of $50,000.
Are you going to be doing the same kind of thing around New Year's?
If that's what you'd like to direct us to do. That was not part of the option 3 of the It's Not Worth It campaign. But again,
It's a problem too. We appreciate you. Thank you.
absolutely.
Thanks, Chief. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate your time.
Okay, next item on the study session is item C, presentation to council for review and discussion on the draft City of Hanford master fee schedule for fiscal year 26-27. And we have our amazing finance department available here for us tonight. So Destiny, I don't know if you or Aubrey or who's going to take the role on this, but I'm looking at Aubrey because I
That'll
think
be
you're
me.
welcome.
So it's that time of the year again. Can we believe it? June already? Oh my gosh. So we're going to go over the proposed master fee schedule changes. So today we're just asking for council's feedback on the proposed rates and fees adjustments. The slideshow will only be covering the proposed changes. So throughout the slides, if you guys have questions on those, and then if we can save to the end any other questions for fees not presented today. No formal action is needed, and then we'll come back on the 16th with all changes for adoption of the resolution. So just quick background. Annually, Finance gathers all the proposed adjustments from each department, and those adjustments are based on annual indexes and other bases like cost recovery. So we'll start out with the Finance Department. We have a few increases on return, late, and reconnection fees, and then we're also just updating the water rates and wastewater rates that are previously approved. For Parks Indoor Facility fee, we're adding in these fees for which we found out shortly before this meeting. This should actually be labeled as table and chair rental, not set up and tear down. So these fees are fees that we already charge for when parties need to rent tables and chairs. So I'll be updating that when I bring back the label. For Parks Outdoor Facility fee, we've added the option to rent the Bastille Courtyard, as well as some description updates and a new lighting fee for the sports fields. For the fire department, we moved a bunch of fees to be under community development, as they'll now handle the fire inspections and plan checks. So we'll quickly go through a few of these slides. A lot were moved.
And Aubrey, that was just for efficiency, right? I mean, to move those things to the community development side was for efficiency, to get out and get the inspections done because of the demand that we were placing on the fire department to try to get those inspections completed and stuff. And it was interfering with the staffing levels and the need for them to be out there. So I just wanted, for the record, to understand why that's getting moved over to community development.
Yeah. And then, of course, the firework ordinance citation, we updated to show that up to $10,000 per person per day. And then for the police department, we also moved animal control fees to be under community development, as they'll also be handling those. For community development, we had a bunch of increases with the CPI, which was 2.7% this year. And then we also added for splitting the subdivision map fee to separate it out per lot instead of just one flat fee. For the building division, there were some fee adjustments like lowering fees, adding new fees, and increasing the inspection fee for swimming pools. This lists the animal license fees. We added some wording to the fees for better description. And I'd also like to note that for the breeder permit, we'll be adding the word annual, as that $500 fee is an annual fee for clarity.
And Aubrey, on that one, just for council, I don't just so and for the community to know, after discussions regarding tonight that I had earlier with staff, that unaltered animal license fee of $60 annually. That's for someone who does not get their pet spayed or neutered, right? So the altered annual license permit is, as long as your pet is spayed or neutered, is reduced. But if you choose not to do that, there's an increased fee for that.
And Mr. Mayor, I want to go back to when they were talking about the lighting fee for the sports fields. That also has been discussed with, the sports entities that are saying that is a base number, but we possibly may be coming back to council because as we get our assessments and everything, and we're looking at the costs that we are being charged, and that might need to go up as well.
And then here reflects those fees that were moved from the fire department. Many of these fees were lowered as well. And here's a continuation.
And Aubrey, those fees that were lowered, those put us in more of a competitive with neighboring cities as well, like Visalia or Tulare.
It's based on the department's determination of cost recovery for those. So.
If you go back to the previous slide, I'm looking at like the annual fire and life inspection fee. It has been dropped down. I think it was $149 or something like that prior, but it's more competitive with, it's pretty much the same, I should say, with the other cities, the surrounding cities.
Yes. And then for our development impact fees, we did the annual increase of the ENRCC. A note for the impact fees, there is a current study going underway. So once that's completed, then they'll bring back the impact fees, and these rates or fees may change. But for now, we're just doing the standard increase. We also moved some fees that fit better under Public Works, just some cleanup stuff. More general increases. We also removed some credits that are listed on here, as it was determined that they're pretty complex and usually based on a contract. So we just removed those off of there. And then Public Works had a few adjustments to descriptions and fee amounts for their engineering services. And then as well as some increases by the CPI. And the refuse department had some increases to fees in line with the rate study, as well as some new fees that are mandated by Cal Recycle, and some fees to be consistent with KWRA. And wastewater also had some fee increases to cover costs. And lastly, the airport increased their rent by the standard CPI. So just a reminder, no formal action today, just your guys' feedback. And if you had any other fees you wanted to discuss, now would be the time.
Madam Vice Mayor, do you have anything that? Okay. Councilman Payne?
going through the master plan, I see there's some inconsistencies of determining, how old a senior is, and so I mean, it keeps coming up. So I was going to say, is that addressed or
Sorry.
it's coming up right now?
Yes, here.
I thought we were done.
I listed out where it's listed on the fee schedule. So, like you said, there's some spots that say 60 plus, some 55 plus. So,
And some that doesn't say anything.
doesn't say, yeah. So we can maybe do a little asterisk that all fees for seniors are a certain age.
Yeah, council, if I may add, now would be a perfect opportunity for council to have that discussion and establish across the board, what is a senior? Webster's dictionary, I think, has multiple numbers. We did check. Well, I don't know if it was Webster's or just Google, but there are multiple definitions.
I don't know, going off of the AARP because I just became a member. But
Well, I think it depends on who you speak to. I know when Bobby Wharton, who was with the Kings County Commission on Aging, I think looks at a senior at 55 or over.
I think it should be 55.
Well, I mean, I was looking and doing some research on it, and it states in California there's no single legal age to determine a senior. There are common benchmarks. 55 is for many senior housing communities and property tax related things. 60 is aging services, nutrition programs, and I think that's something that Bobby Wharton was talking about as well. And then, like, the DMV classifies it at 62, but this is the most common associated one was at 65 for seniors. So we're, for Medicare eligibility, legal protections, many government programs is at 65 years old. So just kind of like that idea of kind of where we're at, and I'm thinking we probably should go at 65. But that's just my thoughts and my input.
I still like the 55.
I still like the 55 too.
Mr.
I
Martinez?
think we'll get less public flack at 55.
That's right. If you've been paying and working, ostensibly, let's say from 18 to 55, like, it's time to give you a break. Like, let's get some lower prices. And there's not, Travis, I feel like you not liking 55 is because you just said something about not age. And I'm like, though there's not.
I'm being facetious on that part, but
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
to.
Well,
Okay.
getting old is a privilege. And, because the alternative is we all know. So let's quit hating on old people and give them a discount.
There's no hate for old people. No hate whatsoever.
But that includes you embracing aging yourself.
I just feel for most people as they get older, they struggle more financially. And if we can take and get more seniors involved starting at 55 and get them doing things, I would like to take and do that.
I 100% agree.
Yeah, I know one thing. I'm a senior. But to me, I think 55 would be a good age to at least to consider some of these privileges. And they worked hard.
So I guess my question for council, and I'll look at staff too as well. So we have a fireworks show that we've advertised for July 4th. And I'm looking at Brad, he's out there. So we've advertised it, I believe, at 65 or older for seniors. Now, I understand, and I love the conversation because I would like some consistency as well. So as we move forward, I don't care about the number. I do like what my colleagues are saying about the 55 area. I mean, it's I think it gives those people that have worked their entire life and some opportunities just for consistency. But how would that? And I guess I'm going to look at Chris. How will that impact us? Because this wouldn't take effect until after that event, right? So this could be something that we could impose for after the July 4th event?
Correct. This fee schedule is effective in July, so the discussion really does pertain to that. But if council wants to give a consensus to me that they would be supportive of a change, then we could look at a change now in regards to that one event. But
Are you saying for the Freedom Fest?
The Freedom Fest. But as far as a formal action, yeah, this is for July.
And so, I mean, the Freedom Fest is in July. So if we take formal action on this and saying that seniors are 55, they would show some inconsistencies with the Freedom Fest because that is in July as well.
That's a good point. So
That's why I'm going to ask.
And
that's why I believe that's why you were
July.
Yeah, and that's why
we could implement that now.
And that's why I would ask that we hold off. I mean, maybe not hold off. We can set a limit, but we've already advertised and done everything this year for the fireworks event. We've established it at under 18 and 65 and over free. So I think
it's 60. I think it's 60 on the website.
Brad, can you speak to that real quick? And what were you at? Could a change of this nature impact things? I know the tickets just opened yesterday.
Correct.
Right?
June 1st, we started selling tickets, so we're 1 day into it so far. I'm sure the folks that come up front would be happy to get the discounts if they're within that 5-year range. City manager and I actually spoke about this morning, and with the 55, the 60, the 62, the 65 seemed to be the range, and we thought hit it right in the middle at 60 and go across the board with all programming. That would be the threshold for senior discount across. And we have a lot of fees that affect seniors. Longfield, we've got, our events. We have a lot of different things that we just thought kind of in that middle. I appreciate what everybody said because I won't tell you where I'm at on the continuum there. But
me neither.
It's a bit of a state of mind.
One of the things that I think is going to be a little awkward is, so if somebody comes up and everything, are we going to take and make them show their ID? Because here you can vote without taking and showing an ID, but they're going to have to take and show their ID for a discount? I mean...
Great point. I do like, and we've already advertised, for the Freedom Fest, it is 60, or is it 65?
It was 65 and over.
Okay. Okay. I'm okay with going through, taking Brad's suggestion and going with 60 and making it across the board 60. And if there's an adjustment that needs to be made on the website, because this would go into effect July 1 for the master fee schedule. So we need to be consistent because of the Freedom Fest being in July. So we'd have to have that consistency. So I'll be okay with 60.
I think you guys are making too big a deal about this consistency. We're talking about a few days. These are set fees that will take effect July 1st. We've been planning this. I feel like we're splitting hairs over this.
I just think we need to be consistent in policy. So if we're talking
I understand
policy,
that, but I'm saying I don't necessarily think we do because we've already done the marketing. We're not IDing people at the door coming into the fireworks fest. So, we might get a few people who are 55, not 60 coming in there for free. I think we should just focus on what this is.
To me and everything, I don't think of 60 as being a senior thing. I think of 55 is the number that you hear a lot of times, and you hear 65. I don't know when I've heard 60. What was 60 when you were looking up the research?
Brad found the median. I think I would prefer to stick 55 on all of our fees and just keep our marketing the same. It's just a fireworks show. It's not that big a deal. We're not carding at the door. We're not going to have bouncers there like you. How old are you?
Lou?
I mean, for me.
We want
and
to lock
everything
some
else-
public comment, see if there's any before we have any more discussion. Okay, so we'll open up public comment on this. Okay, we see none. All right, so we're back to council. So we're looking to give staff just direction on for that consistency's sake, moving forward with what a senior is in our community. So I'm good at whatever conversation or whatever consensus.
I like
we wanna come up
55, and to be honest with you, a lot of people, they aren't going to take it. If they're 55, a lot of them aren't even going to admit that they're 55.
with. Mr. Martinez, what do you think? 55?
55 or 60 to me is,
What's your opinion?
either way.
We need it. We have to have a consensus so we can give staff direction.
I would say
Okay, Mr. Payton?
I was going to go 60 because we have gym memberships and we have memberships at the Longfield Center that is at 60 right now. That if we would have to go back and give senior discounts back to and retroactive or
This
for
would be-
future.
this
Would not
for-
be retro.
Okay,
This
all
would
right.
be for moving forward July 1st.
I'm at 60.
I'm still at 55.
All right, we have our consensus from council. We'll set the standard at 55 for seniors across the board.
On the fee
community,
schedule.
And effective July 1.
I will have that on the adoption schedule.
All right. Staff, anything else? Council, any other questions or comments for staff?
Just for the record, I'm
Thanks
proud
for
to
putting
be
up with us.
55.
We can beat a dead horse like nobody else.
I just want to make sure Vice Mayor House knows that I'm proud to be 55, just so.
You're welcome to the seniorhood.
I'm proud. I'm happy that you're proud to be 55.
All right, ladies, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right, it is 5:10, and that will bring our study session to close. We'll go into closed session, be back in the regular session at 7 p.m. Good evening. It is June 2nd, 2026, 7 p.m. This is the time and place for the Hanford regular city council meeting on this election night. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilmember Martinez.
Here.
Councilmember Reagan.
Here.
Councilmember Payton.
Here.
Vice Mayor House. Here. Mayor Kyrus.
Here. And let the record reflect that all council members are present. So we'll start off our night with invocation, followed by our flag salute by Councilman Payton. So I'd like to introduce what I will call our a community and spiritual leader for us in our community, and Mr. Adam Medeiros. He's going to come forward tonight for our invocation. Welcome, sir. Adam's been a long-time friend and advocate for the city of Hanford, and so it's nice again to have you here this evening. So welcome. And if you'd all stand, please.
Thank you very much. I tell you what, I was here a couple of months ago, and
You want to turn your speaker on? Sorry. There you go. There, you're good.
wow, I usually don't need a mic, but and the feeling was just so different. And today is such a joyful feeling in here. I'm going to start my invocation today with not just praying for our city and our council and the support staff and all that good stuff, but I'm going to start by praying for the citizens here, the ones that are here, the ones who have grievances, who have concerns, who have questions. I want you guys know that, you are all here for a purpose and a plan. And God loves you, and God has placed you here for that reason, because we have a council and a city that gives you that voice. Gives you that voice to speak out and be heard. And I believe we have a city council right now that God is using to not just direct the workings of the city, but they're directing the movements of the next generation that's going to come in through Hanford. So right now, as I pray, I just ask God that you continue to touch our citizens here, continue to lead and direct them, that they find peace, they find resolution to their concerns, and Father, they find advice to their questions. I thank you for our city council, Lord, each one of them, that you touch each one. Father, our city manager, our support staff, that, Father God, you continue to direct each of their steps, that they take those steps earnestly, honestly, and with integrity, knowing that you are the final judge. Father God, I ask you right now to bless this city. As I prayed last time, I pray that this community be known by the cross of Jesus Christ. That each one that comes to this town will know that this is a blessed community, that they seek the Lord before they make a move, that they seek the will of the people before they make an ordinance, and that, Father God, you would continue to encourage and direct each one to do just that. Father, I pray for the visitors that come here, that they would truly feel the Spirit of our Lord Jesus Christ in this community. And I ask this in his name. Amen. Thank you.
Our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. You may be seated. So first item on our agenda tonight is the closed session action report. So I'll defer to our city attorney, Mr. Ty Mazzotti.
Thank you, Mayor. With respect to item A, there were no actions taken. I defer to the city manager on B and C.
On B and C, no actions taken.
Thank you both. Excuse me. So this is the time, we'll open up public comment. This is the time for citizens to comment on subject matters within the jurisdiction of the city of Hanford and the Hanford City Council. This is also the public's opportunity to request an item on the consent calendar be pulled for discussion purposes or to comment on any item on the agenda. State law does not allow the council to discuss or take action on issues not on the agenda, except that members of the council or staff may briefly respond to statements made or questions posed by persons speaking and exercising their public testimonial rights. A maximum of 3 minutes is allowed for each speaker. Please begin your comments by stating your name and providing your city of residence. So at this time, we'll open up public comment.
Dan Leon. Okay. On May the 26th, 9:42 a.m., I obtained witnesses to the alleged burglary of an abandoned open house and removing the copper wiring from the walls. Apparently, the suspects turned off the electrical panel to remove the copper wiring. According to the witness statement, the suspects were 4 males, 2 Hispanic males, and 2 white males. They were seen leaving the residence with copper wiring, and the front gate was left wide open. My question to the chief of police: how can a disabled man with cerebral palsy who can't read or write have the knowledge to operate an electrical panel, or have the strength to 4 men to pull out electrical wiring pulling from the walls of the structure and load the wiring onto a bicycle? Where is your evidence? He was only picking up aluminum cans, as I stated so many times. In addition, the chief of police, you had full knowledge and viciously completed a false report and submitted the false report to the district attorney for prosecution. Again, I charge you for the arrest and kidnapping of my disabled man with a mental capacity of a 7 to 8 year old. Furthermore, in talking to the witness, the electrical panel had to be shut down by the suspects. Again, like I say, how can a guy that cannot read or write operate an electrical panel? Clearly, this was clearly a racially motivated attack against a Hispanic man by the Hanford Police Department and the Kings County District Attorney's Office, who they clearly denied me the right to present the evidence at their office. They were threatening me to arrest me for bringing the evidence. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Mr. Leon. Any other public comment? Please come on up to the podium.
Hello, everybody. Hello. Good evening, Mayor and the council members. My name is Nathan Butch. I reside at 1229 North Dowdy Street in Hanford, California. I previously appeared regarding the Cameron Roberts initiative. I am here tonight to request the City Council consider historical designation review for 1229 North Dowdy Street pursuant to Section 17.480 the Hanford Municipal Code, which authorizes the council to initiate design historic designation. According to public records, the home was constructed in 1910. I researched the history of the property and the families associated with it. The Cameron and Roberts family are part of Hanford's early development. Duncan R. Cameron, one of Hanford's most influential early civic leaders, was an early mayor, brought the bank into town, brought the railroads into town. He built the bank. We did a lot early for Hanford. And so the area around the property is Keith Street, Cameron Street, and Catherine Street. This would be Keith's home, right next to Keith Street. It was named after Keith Cameron. And I printed a brief history that outlines everything. And I'm not asking the council to designate the property tonight. I'm simply asking that the city exercise authority granted under Section 1748.54 to initiate formal review and determine whether property meets adopted criteria. Now, I'm going to skip around because I want to show you guys some of the actual history I found. This is Duncan Cameron. He was the mayor. That's your job, right? And these are the Cameron kids. This is Louise Cameron's, Keith's sister. And then I even printed out a lot of the pictures, but also what I found, which was interesting, was when the senior Cameron died, it has the whole where all the property went to, everyone here. So I did a lot of research, and I also have the baptism card, that Keith's signature from the Episcopal Church. I have photos for days. I have their old photo book. So with my last 15 seconds, I want to show you my two favorite pictures. These are the Cameron kids. This was taken in Hanford, and I got trunks of just pictures like this. But isn't that cool? That's Walter Cameron and Keith Cameron and a bunch of Hanford kids. And then this is my favorite picture. Last 3 seconds. This is an old cowboy named Harley Johnson, and this was also taken in Hanford. Isn't that cool? Yeah. So I just have 3 minutes. I have the Camerons on their trip around the world that I have for you guys. I just want you guys to see all this because this is really interesting stuff. All the streets are named after them. I have all the Camerons in front of the house with the baby right here. I have their address right here. And then I have Duncan Cameron in his old constable outfit. The chief might want to see this. It's kind of cool history here. And then I have everybody piled into a car here. So, I mean, I made copies for you guys. I'll give it to the official person here. But you guys should just look at this. And if you guys can do a review, if you guys can waive the $1,900 for the application. If you can, you can. I just think it would be great for you guys. I have copies of this.
You'd like to give those to the city clerk?
Yeah.
Yes.
Cool. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you.
That's all I got for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
I did it. Okay. Get out of your way now. You guys are busy tonight. Let me get out of your way. City clerk.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
See you around.
Hello, my name is Angela Rosati. I live in Quail Run Estates. My neighbors and I got together and we were able to get signatures required to petition for a reballot. So we're here tonight just to support you guys and supporting us and reballoting our neighborhood so we can look pretty.
Thank you.
Hello.
Good evening.
I have a situation here. If we get permit for the city, we get permit for the fire department, and I have permit for the healthy department. So only, I don't know if it's possible, we can, you guys get the permit for a factory, tortilla factory, and the address is 519 North 10th Avenue.
Could you give me the address again? 519?
19 North 10th Avenue.
10th?
What was your
What
name,
is your
sir?
name?
Hmm?
What was your name, sir?
Jesus Rico.
Jesus Rico. Thank you.
Yeah. This is my name, but for the person that's Eri Zamora, that's the person you want to do the business. And he gave all the permits already, he paid already.
Do we need? Yeah, so I'm not sure. You have permits that have been issued, or?
He have the permits already for the city,
Okay.
fire department, and health department. So can the city give the permit for us? That's what we need only.
I'll defer to our city manager. Do you want?
Mayor, Council, I would recommend, Mr. Rico, you reach out to our Deputy City Manager, Jason Waters, regarding finalization of a permit. I'm not confident, but I think there's a neighbor that you need approval from, but you'll need to reach out to our Community Development Department and our director there.
The only person is I think it's Dynasty Chinese food, but this person is the city say if it's signed, so we can give it a permit. But I don't understand why one person want to make a decision on everything here.
Yeah, Mr. Rico, that would not be an action that council could take right now, nor would they have any ability to change the process right now. You would need sign off from Dynasty, and you would need to work with Mr. Waters on that.
But this person he don't want to sign. So it's different food, different
Mr. Rico, I encourage you to talk to Mr. Waters about that. If the person doesn't want to sign, then they're more likely then you need to look at another location. But you need to talk to Mr. Waters.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Any other public comment? Okay, seeing none, we'll close public comment and move on to our consent calendar. Consent calendar items are considered routine and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these matters unless a request has been made, and then the item will be removed from the consent calendar to be discussed and voted upon by a separate motion. So we have items A through J, I believe it is tonight.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to accept the consent calendar items A through J.
I second it.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilman Page, second by Councilwoman Regan. Any discussion? Madam Clerk. Consent calendar passes 5-0. Next item on the agenda is items A and B in the public hearing. The first item A is the Human Resources. And this is a public hearing and reporting on the City of Hanford vacancies, recruitment and retention efforts in compliance with Assembly Bill 2561. So I'm going to welcome our Human Resources staff. Sarah Cardoza is at the table here, and Brenda's with us. So welcome both ladies.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of council. We're here tonight to provide you with the annual update required for public entities through AB 2561.
Can I interrupt 1 second? I'm going to open up the public hearing. Let's do this formally and right the correct way.
Thank you. Over the next few minutes, we'll provide you with the background and requirements of AB 2561. The main objectives are to inform you. Hold on just a second. I need to go to the next slide. The main objectives are to inform the public and governing bodies about staffing challenges, if applicable, encourage recruitment and retention solutions, and provide bargaining units with a formal platform to express concerns or proposals. Each year, HR staff will hold a public hearing before the City Council and present detailed information, including current vacancy rates, recruitment efforts taken, retention strategies, and if applicable, identify obstacles in the hiring process. Bargaining groups are also provided with advance notice, allowing them to address the City Council on vacancy rates and related impacts. The overall intent of the Assembly Bill is to mandate increased transparency and accountability from local government agencies regarding workforce management. Full-time positions were reviewed, and as of May 11th, 2026, indicates that citywide vacancies are less than 5%. This slide provides a breakdown of vacancies by bargaining group. It's important to note that no bargaining group currently meets or exceeds the 20% vacancy threshold established under AB 2561. If any group were to reach that threshold, additional information would need to be provided regarding service impacts, hiring barriers, and the steps being taken to address the shortage.
Okay, I'm going to speak now in regards to our recruitment efforts. So we have 3 different categories. It's the outreach, incentives, and enhancements. As far as outreach, we have our social media recruitment posts that Brian Johnson is so helpful for us. It puts it across all our city platforms, as well as our online job postings and job boards. We do reach out to other agencies. We do an outreach, industry-specific advertising, as well as our internship recruitment pipeline. HR and finance have both had interns, and that's worked out great for us. And some of our interns have been hired on a full-time basis. Some of our incentives is a $1,500 referral stipend, and that's for full-time employees who refer other lateral or experienced candidates and get hired, as well as signing bonuses for our lateral and experienced candidates and vacation credit upon hire. Some of the enhancements for recruitments is our NeoGov applicant tracking system, which most public agencies utilize, so it just makes it easier for candidates to apply, as well as something that is new to HR is our online onboarding, so that saves some time for us with our candidates, bringing them on board on the orientation process. The critical testing is something that we've done for our communications dispatching, so that's cut a lot of time. Before we used to do a 3-hour post-test. Now people are able to do it online at home, and we've had a lot more turnaround of candidates actually completing the test. And then just all of this streamlines our hiring process to make it faster for our vacancies to be filled. I do want to highlight a little on our recruitment activity from May of last year to May 11th of 2026. We had 57 full-time recruitments. Almost 5,000 applications were reviewed. We had 40 full-time hires. We created and amended 28 different job classifications, so the descriptions, as well as promotions and reclassifications of 43 current employees. Our retention and employee support. So for our employee benefits, we have our medical plans, our city clinic that we've had now for a little over a year, so that's working out great. Deferred compensation match plans for all our bargaining groups, as well as our employee assistance programs and our wellness programs for all our current employees. Some of our positions do allow flexibility as far as alternative work schedules, telecommuting opportunities, and the paid holiday closure has been great. And that's also been a good recruitment to put on our job posting. That's really great. Actually, I've had several candidates call and ask to say if that was correct, and so that's been great as well. So thank you to council for that. Employee development, we have a $5,000 tuition reimbursement for most of our bargaining groups, certification pay, longevity pay as far as our time with the city of Hanford. Some of our groups also have longevity for city or public agency experience for with other agencies, and our recognition programs, our employee appreciation luncheons. So at this point, we, staff, have reviewed our recruitment practices, procedures, and policies, and we haven't identified any hiring obstacles, but we'll continue to evaluate everything as we do this on a yearly basis. Before we open it up for the bargaining groups, does council have any questions for us?
Just going to comment, wow, we hired 40 people?
Yeah.
That's a lot of HR work. Good job, ladies. That is a lot.
Thank you. And that's just full-time. We didn't account for part-time. Yes.
Kudos.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Just say, with the 5%, are we within the norm, or is this above?
We're under the 5%, so that's really good.
Really good.
Mm.
All right, awesome.
Well, I don't get an opportunity very often to do it in public, so I do want to do it tonight. I want to thank you both for the hard work, and especially as we went through the process and hiring our new city manager, and these two ladies were instrumental in us going through that process. And I know the hard work and the dedication that you guys commit to your job. We appreciate that. Doesn't get said enough, but I know Sarah's there early in the morning, and you guys are work really hard, and I've said this before as well. Instead of being the recruited, we're the recruiter. So we're doing something right. We're getting very high caliber members of the staff, and to be able to be in that position, is part of not only what councils have done, but the benefits and things that we've been able to offer to our employees and work with them. And I know that you guys are instrumentally involved with the collective bargaining units and getting us through that process and navigating those waters, which we don't deal with on a daily basis. So I just wanted to take my time, publicly thank you both for your hard work and everything that you've offered us, at least in my guidance in the last 3+ years. So thank you.
I just want to add on one thing because you sparked a memory. I've been so impressed since I've been on council at all of the employees at the city of Hanford, from, the city manager, all, how many would we have? 333? All 333. And just the other day, I was telling Russ Sterling, I had a really positive experience where it was just a very courteous refuse driver in the morning when I'm taking a walk with my dogs, and there's nothing but bad drivers out in the world who look like they're about to hit the kids who are walking to school. And then this man decides, we were not there first. We were not the crosswalk first. He was, but he reverses his truck a bit to say, here, ladies, you walk with your dogs. And I just feel like that's the kind of stuff that I want the citizens of Hanford to know, that we have really high quality, qualified, talented employees here, and I feel like everybody should know that we should be proud of the employees that we have within the city. And I'm very impressed, and based on, when you're running and everybody tells you all the bad things about your city that you're supposed to go fix, I would say I was pleasantly surprised at the caliber of professionalism and education level and just courteousness that I've seen and experienced from everybody.
Mr. Martinez.
Yes, thank you. I just want to say thank you for your commitment and dedication to our community. You make it, you make us great. Thank you very much.
At this point, we do want to open it up to any of the bargaining groups. They were noticed that we would be presenting today, and they have the opportunity to speak if they'd like to.
So at this time, we'll open it up to any bargaining units or representatives that are present. Okay, seeing none, do we need to open up public comment?
No.
Right? Okay. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Okay, next item on our agenda is from our utilities and engineering. It's a public hearing and the adoption of Resolution 2625R for the 2025 Urban Water Management Plan, and Resolution 26-26R, 2025 Water Shortage Contingency Plan, authorizing its submittal to the Department of Water Resources. And so we have staff here, Mr. Centeno. I'm not sure who's taking the lead tonight.
Mr. Mayor, I'll introduce the item. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. Frank Centeno, Utilities Engineering Director for the City of Hanford. Here to introduce this next item, which is a public hearing for the adoption of the city's 2025 Urban Water Management Plan and 2025 Water Contingency or Water Shortage Contingency Plan, and then approving the submittal of those two documents to the Department of Water Resources.
So, Mr. Centeno, I'll open a public hearing at this time. I'm playing a little bit behind tonight. I apologize, but as presented, you did a wonderful job with that, so we'll keep moving forward.
Thank you.
Sorry to interrupt you.
Thank you. Before saying anything further, I'd like to introduce the two gentlemen here at my left and right. To my right is Tony Akel of Akel Engineering, here to present, to walk you through a presentation talking about the plan in more detail. And then Bob Williams, our Water Utilities Manager, available here for any questions. Both documents are mandated by the state, and they're prepared in a format as prescribed by the agency. Very simply, the plan's focus is to identify what future water demands will be versus the city's ability to meet that demand. A public process or a public noticing process was followed as detailed in your staff report, and to date, no comments have been received. And so with that, I'll go ahead and turn it over to Tony.
All right. Thanks, Frank. Mr. Mayor, council members, it's a pleasure to be here to give a presentation on the 2025 Urban Water Management Plan. Frank gave you a good summary of the plan. I'm going to give you a 45-minute version of the noise. I need to be brief, right? I think Frank said I need to be brief. So I'm going to be brief. 2025 Urban Water Management Plan, and this is the clicker, and it should work when I click on it, right? And it doesn't work when I click. I have to turn it on. Okay, I'm an engineer. Frank, help me out. Oh, there it is. Takes two. It is on. It is on.
He is a good company.
All right, next, please. This is our second agenda. It's an overview of what we're going to talk about, the purpose. Why do we work on 2025 urban water management plans? We'll give you a refresher on compliance with the Water Conservation Act, SB X7-7, SB Senate bill. Water shortage contingency, that's a very important part of the urban water management plan. As Frank mentioned, water supply reliability. How reliable is our water supply? How resilient are we? And then serving growth. Not the next year, 2, 3. The next state wants us to go project at the minimum next 20 years. We're projecting the next 25 through 2050 as an option. We took that option, and we're looking to that. Next slide, please. So why prepare an urban water management plan? It's required by the state. And there's a water code that says that section 10.610, required by retailers serving more than 3,000 connections. We serve more, and or more than 3,000 acre feet per year. Give you an idea, we're closer to, I think, 11,000 acre feet. How often? Every 5 years. We've been doing it for the past many, many years, and we're going to continue to do it. That's mandated by the state. They want us to be submitted on July 1st every 5 years. Next slide, please. But really, why? It's the code, not just because the state has an objective in mind. They want us to, number one, make sure we're enhancing the reliability of our supply. They want us to also ensure that we can support future growth. When developers come in, do we have a plan? What's our plan to accommodate that? And have adequate water supplies. Number three, promote policies and programs that encourage water conservation. We've been doing this. We've been very successful at this. But the state wants us to continue doing it. And they will keep adding regulations and policies to make sure we are as efficient as we could. Not just us, statewide, all agencies. And then, most importantly, provide a framework for responding to water shortages or emergencies. When there's an emergency on the supply side, what happens? We cannot panic. In a few years back, the state came back with a big hammer. We want you to conserve. This is your goal. Now we are self-monitoring ourselves. We determine our own goals every year. At the end of the day, they want us to make sure we are reassuring ourselves that we have a plan, reassure the public that we have a plan to deal with drought and emergency. That's what this is all about. Next slide, please. And this is an outline, 10 chapters. I will not discuss each and every one of the chapters. Essentially, the state provides you with that outline. They said, this is how we would like you to provide us a response. In addition to the report, they want us to complete a big workbook that has a lot of numbers. We won't cover those tonight because we're going to be brief. Right, Frank? Okay. Next slide, please. I think this is a very important slide to discuss. Let me see if the pointer works. The pointer works. On this graph, the green line here shows our population since 2000 through 2025, over the past 25 years. The green line shows that our population has been growing like every other community in the valley. And then the bars show how much water we've been using as a community every year. Every bar is for one of the years, 20, 21, 22. And you would expect that as population grows, that our water use grows. So we would expect these bars to continue to going up. But what happened here? How come our water is not paralleling our population? That's because we are conserving water. We're not using as much per person as we were using. And that's called managing our water. And that's what we do during droughts. So these are some drought years, and you can see that we have dropped, and we have been managing that water since. We have not let go. That's a very important graph. And this is for the past 25 years. The state wants us to look the next 25 years. How are you going to handle that? So we projected our population for the next 25 years based on the previous trends. We continued. And also we evaluated how we were responding with the supplies. Next slide, please.
Tony, going back
now it works.
Tony, back to that previous slide.
I can go as many slides as it works now.
Okay, this one right here. What was behind that big drop in 2000? Looks like 2017 to the right.
2000 and
the real short blue
2015 here.
No, the short blue bar, right?
Short blue bar
right there. That was as a result of the governor's order, emergency water savings order.
That's correct, Frank. And it went statewide. With the directive, the state established individual goals for every community. They just threw them at us and they said, meet that goal. The valley was hit hard. Some communities, some cities, they were hit hard with big numbers. How are we going to, 35% reduction, how are we going to do that? But we ended up all regrouping, we ended up developing plans, and it worked. And we continue using those plans. So thanks for reminding us about this. But since then, the state doesn't want to continue to state, there's a lot of pushback to the state. How can you establish those numbers? It applies to this agency, but not to us. Why? How did you come up with those numbers? Now the state gave us the tools to self-regulate. Every year now, we develop those numbers. We determine if we need to apply and self-regulate ourselves. All right, this is an equally important graphic. One picture was worth 1,000 words. So this is a graph that shows, and this is behind the act, the Water Conservation Act called SB X 7-7, Senate Bill introduced back in 2009 by Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger. And back then, they wanted us to do 20 by 2020. Reduce 20% of how much water we use by year 2020. And back then, that was 2010. They said, look back, find out what your average is. From that average, calculate 20%, and you need to meet it by 2020. That's a hard brick wall. You have to get there. The blue line shows how Hanford has been performing, and then since the target was set here, we hovered a little bit on that same average at 215 gallons per day per person. That's what that number is, gallons per capita per day. We need to get to 179, and right there in 2015, when the governor sent those big directives, we dropped, and then we continued to drop, and we have not gone back up to that target. So we have met the target back in 2015, and over the years, sometimes people forget there are droughts, but we have stayed under that target. The state wants us to continue meeting this target. 2020 came and it's gone, but we are still obligated to meet that. I pressed too many buttons. Still obligated to meet that target, 179 gallons per day per capita. The state, and so then in the next urban water management plan will be in 2030. This may not go. They will add more policies, more regulations, and probably to regulate indoor water use. And the city of Hanford is currently taking action by implementing water meters. Modernizing with the meter reads. The state has a lot of pilot studies ongoing to see how much they can push and squeeze indoor water use. And that will be in the next 5 years. Water shortage contingency plan. The state provided those categories on the right-hand side. If it's normal, you don't do anything. If we're in alert mode, you need to save up to 10%. If there's a significant drought, save up to 20%. It's severe, critical, crises, emergency, more than 50%. In Hanford, our equivalent categories are on the left-hand side. We have 4 stages compared to the state that has 6 of them. But it correlates. Ours are more simplified. We have big chunks of savings. The state is more incremental, 10% at a time. But this is how we respond to droughts. If we have a drought, we go to whichever savings we need to implement, and that level tells us what kind of savings, what do we need to prohibit and reduce and manage the demand. Supply is less, we manage the demand, use less water. If it's severe, maybe we can reduce, scale back on outdoor watering. Maybe if it's very severe, maybe there's no outdoor watering. We just need to make sure we protect public life. So we review that during normal years. How do we handle it? How do we handle during single dry year? The state wants us also to consider what if there are 5 consecutive dry years. So we look at that, and that's our plan. That provides us with reliability. And this is an example. This is a table that shows how we project our supplies through 2050 in 5-year increments and our water use in 5-year increments And if we need to apply a water shortage level, this would be in this table. We can add it here and adjust as needed when during droughts. Next steps. We talked about the urban water management plan. We kept it brief, but the next steps. Next steps, there's an adoption process that we must follow, and this public hearing is part of that process. But first, we had to notify the public about this public hearing. We did that May 19th, May 26th. We placed ads in papers. This is the public hearing, June 2nd, 2026. Next step would be after this public hearing is closed, then the next item would be to adopt this plan. And then after that, we get the adoption resolution, include this in the report, and submit that report to the state, and before the deadline that they imposed, July 1, 2026. And that's the conclusion of this report, this presentation.
Just a couple more items, City Council. Staff would like to introduce these revisions to the Urban Water Management Plan report. This is page 8-7, and there's a sentence in there. We'd like to replace the old language, which read, "The city's groundwater supplies relies on natural recharge from surface water runoff, as well as deep percolation of applied irrigation water." So we're not injecting water. The new language, and it's replaced by the new language that the city's groundwater supply relies on natural recharge, primarily from rainfall, precipitation, and melted snowpack east of us in the Sierras. And that water basically is transported through the aquifer. As you all know, we draw our water from the deep layer beneath that Corcoran. That Corcoran layer kind of fades away as you travel further east, and where there's ready soils that are receptive to percolation. So that's how our groundwater or groundwater tables are recharged. And that concludes staff's presentation, unless there's questions for staff.
Council, any questions?
I just have a quick question. If you can go back to the second important graph. That one right there. Now, you were saying, do we get penalized? Like, how did they come up with that 179 number? Because are they basing it off of the highest point at 236 in 1996, or how are they getting that number?
This is a good question. This is a number that we developed on our own. If you see, the blue line indicates how we have fluctuated over the years, all the way through 2010. And then if you see the dashed gray line is about the average of all those fluctuations. And the average is 215. So before we do the water conservation, before we apply the 20%, we were averaging at 215. He said, that's the state's, this is the methodology the states want us to do. Calculate the average. Number one, that's step one. And we did it in gray. That's the 2015. They said, from that point, in 2010, we want you to count 10 years and reduce it by 20%. We counted 10 years, reduce it by 20% to 179.
So you got the 175 because of the 20%. And this is just me just trying to understand that. Do we take 20% of the 215, which is 43? We have to, and that comes out to 172 instead of 179, which puts the city of Hanford in like 2023. We're looking at 173, 175. We're looking at I know you're showing me this right now. But I'm just saying if we take 20% of 215, that drops it by 43 points. That's less than the 179, if I'm understanding correctly.
And we can
I just don't, like, if we're approving the water plant, I'm just trying
absolutely.
to understand.
We'll make sure to double check the numbers. It could be a round up errors for this 2015. We're certain about the 179, so this could be a round up about these averages. We'll double check this, whether it's 215 or.
Because I guess the purpose of my question is not like a gotcha, but it's like if my number is correct, that would put the city, do we get fined if we go above that threshold? And are we in a position of, getting in trouble with the state if that threshold gets surpassed and we're not in that 20% threshold?
The state's penalty, the state's way of applying penalties is sometimes to withhold state funding. But this gives us a good monitors for us to self-monitor and apply savings.
Okay.
So if we feel that we are approaching this and brushing through these numbers, we can achieve those water savings by applying by saving on the demands. And the saving on the demand, we go to the water shortage contingency plan, and we apply a low level as an example, which is not a big burden. But we can apply low levels, and that should help us control this number.
Because I think the first graph that you showed us and how we are, our population is increasing, right, and our water conservation, I mean, that's just, I commend the citizens for being good stewards of our water, knowing the importance of conservation. I know they teach conservation in schools. They're educating the next generation on the conservation. So, looking at that, we've had people, when new developments come in, they're saying, why are we building more houses? It takes more water and everything, but we're doing a great job, and we are managing our water correctly, and we, and our community is conserving that water as
absolutely. Well. This is absolutely a correct statement. I can tell you, you can find these, but what your city is currently implementing, Frank's team is implementing, are called smart meters.
Mm-hmm.
Smart meters is going to give every homeowner insights into how much they use. And as you check how much your water use is, you become self-conscious. We use that much water. And so the smart meter is going to become a tool, an additional tool that will further drive this down. So the measurements will become more accurate, number one. Again, we're also counting on measurements that are not as accurate. So our accuracy level is going to go higher. Our educational level and to the citizens will be more effective. Communication with the citizen will be more effective on their water use, and they will self-water conserve. So we've got a lot of tools at hand here that will help us continue to do water conservation, in addition to the state coming down with additional regulations to control indoors water use. There are pilot studies right now that the state is conducting with several agencies to see what is that pain level, how much should we regulate, how far should we go to say, Frank, we would like you to apply some more pressures and then reduce that water indoors more. How much are we using? 55 per person. We need to go to 43. They're looking to see what is that pain level that is acceptable. So they're dealing with a lot of consultants, getting feedback on what is the disadvantage, the advantage if we go too far, what is too far. But the state is very determined to continue this mission. Until now, they said, these are your tools, but I would expect in addition to this, they will apply some more. So I do expect this number to continue to drop.
And I appreciate that, and I think the smart meters is a, no pun intended, but a smart way to go to educate and regulate, or just not regulate, but educate the population in what their water usage is. And just, I don't know if it was just my calculation. I was just concerned that if it was going to affect, some sort of funding, if we go over that threshold, I wouldn't want to see that for our city and our department. So.
If I could add to that, I mean, I went through back in 2015 or so, when they had the mandatory 20% cutback. There was a public shaming process that occurred, and the water board required us to put together a work plan on how we're going to reel that down the consumption. So very, very painful process.
I remember that time we had banners across Dowdy there that was like, you need to reduce it by, I think it was like 40% at the time. There was some, as you were saying, public shaming, but there was a lot of like expectations that we need to do this immediately. And that was, we did it, and we haven't surpassed it. So, Mr. Mayor, that's all
Anyone else? I just want to stay on this one a little bit. I think that the confusion is just the number, but I think when you look back on page 5-2, chapter 5-2, it has that breakdown from 1995 to 2020, which is that 25-year range. It shows those 25 years. This one is there, but it's more detailed than on the page 5-2, where that target line is 179. A lot like my councilman colleague said that our community's done a great job in conserving water. We look at how the restrictions we placed on residential irrigation and things like that, people watering at their house, and limiting it to 2 days a week, and doing all those things. I think we're trying to be the best stewards of our resources, and water is definitely critical in our area here. So to see this and to see the success that we've had in that short period of time since this has been put into place, I think is a testament to the community and the hard work that they're committed in trying to be good stewards of our water resources. So, and then the other thing is, just for the community, this is labeled as a 2025 report because it's on that 5-year cycle, right? So they did the report in 20. They're going to do it again in 2025. They'll do it in 2030. But in time for them to gather all the information, put the report together. This report isn't due, I believe, until July of 2026 or June of 26.
It's due July 1, 2026, July 1st, right here.
Right. So we're submitting the plan for that 20 to 25 range, and then we're continuing to implement the state regulations or the demands that they're putting on us or asking us to comply with. And so meeting that 20% threshold is important.
That's correct, meeting that, but also the state wants it to self-regulate every year. So every year we monitor ourselves month after month, and then at the end of June, Bob will be reviewing and submitting a report that evaluates whether we need to declare any level of shortage for the summer. They want to make sure we do the evaluation before we get to the hot summer month. And do we need to declare any shortage level? If not, we're good. Otherwise, we'll continue with an existing level that we had last year. So we are paying attention. We are regulating, and Bob is doing this.
And I think that graph that you showed about population growth with this, is evident to the success that we've had. And the other part I found really interesting was the historical annual rainfall, going back to 1952, I believe it is. Yeah, 1952. It's on page 3-8 of your report, because I went through that and I was like, wow, you can really see the years, the wet years versus the drought years, and the historical rainfall that, and it's kind of like on that 5-year cycle where we get some rain and don't get it, and then we get some more, and so you can really see the change in it. So thank you for the report. It's very detailed, 156 pages, I believe it is. Spent the weekend going through that and highlighting a lot of it. So it's good information to have. So thank you,
Mr. Mayor. I'm very glad that you went through and read through the report. It's very reflective on an amazing community.
I have a question. It might be a stupid one. How do we know how much water that we're using? Is there monitors on our wells?
Yes, ma'am, there is.
we do a daily read, and then I get a printout at the end of the month that tells me each day how much each well put out. And I have a report I have to submit to the state every month of the previous month usage for each well.
Oh, that's okay. Cool.
And we do soundings to see how our water tables are going every month also. We do a pumping level read and then a static when it's not pumping. So we can see if we're losing water.
Okay, thank you. And then this might be a question for you, Frank. I'm not sure. How far along are we in our process or progress on getting everybody over to the smart meter? Like, do we have a percentage of what the
We're at 67%
completed?
completed.
Nice. Thank you.
This is another telling graph. I think, when you look at the average, about 11,000 acre feet, I think a year has kind of been average for us over the years, and it really hasn't changed that much as our population growth has continued. So that's, again, goes back to the community and the way that they're conserving water, and they understand the importance of that. So, yeah, it's an interesting report when you read through it. So. Okay, any other comments or questions? Okay, so I believe we do have to take some public comment on this. Let me make sure. Yes, we do. So I'll open up public comment at this time for anyone in favor of the report. You'll be allowed 5 minutes. Okay, seeing none, we'll open up those. Anyone in opposition? Seeing none, we'll close public comment. Council. Entertaining a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'll entertain a motion. I'll make a motion, looking through the numbers and making sure that they're all, spot on. But I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we got a motion by Councilman Payton, second by Vice Mayor Howes, as presented in the staff report. Madam Clerk, roll call, please. And the item passes 5-0. Tony, thank you.
You, Council.
Thank you. Appreciate the hard work, Bob. Appreciate your thank you. All right, so we'll move on to our next agenda item. It's general business. Item A with Human Resources approved the City of Hanford salary schedules. Brenda and Sarah, come back on up.
Good evening again. So you will see on the agenda item 2 salary schedules. One is a current one restating existing salary ranges for full-time. It does entail a couple additional positions. They're not necessarily filled, and title changes. The second salary schedule is the salary schedule that will go into effect July 6th, which encompasses all of the salary increases that were previously negotiated and approved for bargaining groups. The reason why it's on general business is as required by SB 707, which went into effect earlier this year. City Council must orally report a summary of recommendations before final action is taken on salaries and benefits for executive level positions. So because department heads are getting an increase July 6th, this has to be a general business item. So it is staff's recommendation to approve the salary schedules as presented and authorize staff to amend all of their documents as necessary.
Council, any questions? Okay, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll go ahead and make a motion for approval.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion to approve and seconded by Councilman Payton, seconded by Vice Mayor Howes, as recommended in the staff report. Any other discussion? Madam Clerk. Item passes 5-0. Thank you, ladies. Next on the agenda is with Finance Department, the adoption of Resolution 26-33-R, the amendments to the City of Hanford Water Service Discontinuation Policy. Welcome, ladies.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, City Council. This will be a short presentation on an update to the current water service discontinuation policy. The current policy was last updated in 2022 to ensure compliance with California's SB 998. Some of those requirements include a minimum of 60-day delinquency, written notice delivered a minimum of 7 days prior to water being turned off, and the availability of an appeal and payment arrangement for vulnerable populations. The update that we are proposing just standardizes the discontinuation procedures and policies to modify the payment plan due date to align with our current billing process and to clarify that the past due balance requirements for a 12-month agreement, which we are stating at $1,000 balance. I move to adopt Resolution 26-33-R, amendments to the City of Hanford Water Service Discontinuation Policy. Are there any questions?
Council, any questions? So I not a question, but I guess it is, but it's just good for the record. So is we have somebody that's delinquent, and it gets to the point where we're looking at potentially cutting service, right?
Yes.
Discontinuing their service. We have a policy in place that allows for maybe a hardship, correct? As far as if they are financially unable to make their payment, but there's a policy in place that can put them on a plan with the city, right? And I just want to say that because as any elderly or certain indigent people that we might have in the community, that we'd be able to have something in place to guide them through. Because I hate to turn off someone's water just out of the blue, but
Sure. To address that, this is our current policy, which a customer would need to demonstrate their financial inability to pay. This can be usually met with providing proof of assistance. Some of those examples are Medi-Cal, SNAP. If they qualify for a care program with any of the other utilities, we take that as proof of needing assistance. They have to agree to an alternate payment schedule, which requires a 25% down of their outstanding balance. And the balance of that is then split into either 6 or 12-month payments. But they also need to remain current on their bills. Yes.
I just wanted to have this pulled up for display for you to be aware.
And Mr. Mayor, I just appreciate, I feel it's a lot more compassionate in a sense because we are going through tough times as a country, and people are going to be falling on hard times, and that we as a city are here to work with, somebody may lose their job, and then it causes, I don't want a house to go without water, but I also understand, I just appreciate the efforts that you are putting forth in suggesting this policy so we can, help those that may, fall on hard times. So I just appreciate that. Thank you.
I concur with Travis. I appreciate it a lot.
Mr. Mayor, I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve.
I'll second the motion.
Motion by Councilman Payton, second by Vice Mayor Howes, as presented in the staff report. Madam Clerk. Item passes 5-0. Thank you, ladies. And item C is Public Works, presentation and receipt of a petition for the property owners of Quail Run Estates, Landscape Assessment District 94-03, to reballot the district on the district's assessment and provide direction. So we have Mr. Sterling, Mr. Alvin Deeb is with us. Welcome, gentlemen.
Good evening, Council. It'll come up just a second. It's just a short presentation. I can go off my notes here. Just a little follow-up. The balloting process, January 20th, 2026, council provided direction to staff to ballot 94-03, which is Quail Run Estates. February 4th, 2026, ballots were mailed to all property owners on file with Kings County Recorder's Office. February 21st, staff conducted a community outreach at Quail Run Estates. I will say that was our best attended LAD meeting, and we appreciated it. April 7th, we conducted a public hearing. It was held to receive public comment and count submitted ballots. Submitted ballots. The measure failed 42 yes and 55 no votes. Shortly after the April 7th meeting, several Quail Run Estate property owners reached out to city council members and city staff requesting information on how to ballot so they could reballot the district. May 13th, property owners within the Quail Run Estates district presented Councilman Padden with a community-driven petition containing signatures from a majority of the parcels in Quail Run Estates. City staff were able to verify the petition contained 139 of the 272 property owners reaching the majority threshold. May 19th, council reached consensus to bring the item back to potential reballoting. And that's why we're here today. Are there any questions?
Sure. So when this went to ballot, there were 42 yes, 55 no's, so of course the petition failed.
Right.
And I appreciate the work that that grassroots people and the people that are in our audience tonight that went out and worked in the community to get support to continue to have the service and stuff available for them. With that petition and stuff that was submitted, what percentage of that are we kind of looking at? I mean, 139 of 272 is about 50%, right?
Yes, it's a little over 50%.
So we're considering tonight going back out for, or want to have the discussion about going back out to reballot for services there.
Correct. And those ballots would have to be postmarked by Friday to get them out to meet the 45-day window for the July 21st.
Yes.
But it's that I mean, basically on what I'm just clarifying so I have a correct understanding. The 139 that they have is basically 50%, and it requires 50% or greater than 50% to pass, correct?
Actually, in the Prop 218, a 50-50 would consider passage.
50-50 pass. Okay.
And I see Ty shaking his head, so I guess I understood that correctly. Is that?
That's correct. Under Prop 218, it's a majority protest. So if a majority of those returning ballots vote no, then the council would be prohibited from moving forward with a rate increase. But if there is no majority voting no, the council in that case could move forward with an increase.
Okay, help me understand that.
As Council Member Payden indicated,
right.
If it's a tie vote, that means a majority did not vote against it. And in that case, there is no majority protest. As a result, if there's a 50-50 vote, the council legally could move forward with a rate increase. Yes.
Mm-hmm. So a tie passes.
Tie passes,
yes.
Right.
Correct.
Correct.
Correct. And if it's a tie vote, the council could legally approve a rate increase.
That's what I wanted to make sure. So at 50% or greater, it would pass. And so based on the information that they've collected, they're at about the 50 percentile as we speak.
A little over 50%. And there was, and what makes it a little bit difficult in speaking with, do you want to talk about the trust,
Yes, the petition that we received actually had a little higher than 139. I believe it was 158 signatures. Some of those were difficult to verify because they were a trust or things like that where we we don't know who's involved in the trust, so that would take a little bit more verification. But when they reached their threshold, we felt comfortable with bringing it back to council.
Got it. So that's what that helps me a little bit when you're looking at.
Yeah, there was probably the 158 was over about close to 60 or a little bit over 60% of the property owners in this neighborhood said that they would support it. And
no, I mean, I hope that's true.
Me too.
I truly do. Because if it goes back out and people signing a petition saying that they support it versus when it comes time to check the box yes on a ballot, I hope it's consistent. I guess it's just my concern is the cost that it's going to cost the city to go back out, and that's going to get assessed to their assessment district no matter what. So it's just, as they're running a deficit now, that's just an added deficit to their funding. And if it didn't pass, I'm just saying this for the record, so it's very clear that if it didn't pass this time, there's now those added costs again that that are going to get ultimately recouped. I mean, through the assessment process that's currently in place. But I guess. And I do want to hear from them because, they were the ones that were knocking on the doors and talking to people. And I really, want to hear kind of what their feeling is and of their community because I was not out there. So, for me, I think it's critical.
But what I would like to share with the council is that I was able to request the past ballots. And looking over those who voted no, this grassroots group was able to convince 23 of those no's to vote yes.
Okay, good.
And so there is they felt, and this is coming from the group in their conversations with me, is that they felt that they were able to provide a lot more education and a lot more clarity of what the costs were and what the services was going to be, what the service will look like moving forward. And once they understood those costs, obviously there were some that were still a no vote, but almost a majority of those no votes said, you know what, we could get behind this. And so I'm feeling confident, and I would just want to publicly thank the members of the neighborhood. And we had, when we met at the park, we had about 25 residents, the homeowners there, and of those 25, 12 were like, we want a grassroots, we want a reballot, and the other 12 or 13 that were there we're going to support you on that. We don't have time to do, but they put hours and hours into getting that information out. They started a Facebook page, and it was constantly about educating their neighborhood. So they feel really confident, and they were really happy to get that 158, and that was their determining factor. And I said, if it doesn't come in, I couldn't really support it myself. It wasn't over that 50% threshold, in which they were close to 60% if you look at those 158 signatures that they received.
And that's good. And I think some of the conversations that we had from the initial election night was the concern of disseminated information and the understanding of what this is about. And I can't applaud you all enough for your hard work and what you've done, because I think not only have you shed light on the situation that is impacting Quail Run, I think it's going to also have impacts as we move forward with other assessment districts, as we move forward in consideration for them as well. So,
if this passes the second, and I apologize for
no, you're fine.
What I was going to say is, if this passes the second go around, this is going to be a fine standard for for other LADs to follow in just the efforts they put in getting those stakeholders that were passionate, because they felt that their neighbors, when they saw their face and had neighbors, educating neighbors and saying that we all are here. We're living in this neighborhood together, and we all have to band together, because this is how an LAD is funded. This is how, the maintenance is taken care of. It falls on us. It doesn't fall on the city. And once they were able to convey those FAQs to the community, they got behind them.
Yeah, and I certainly, like I said, I certainly hope, and I'm more confident now than when I was 10 minutes ago, of where we're at. And so, I mean, I'm all, I just with the understanding that I just want to say, publicly, the fight's not, I don't say the fight, the petition or drive is not over yet. It's not over till, the ballots are counted.
Absolutely.
So I would just encourage any member of Quail Run or community member has any questions, please reach out to your council member. If there's anything we can do to, we have to stay away from this a little bit. Can't get ourselves involved in it too much, but if making sure they have the information to share with their residents so they can get this over the
They did
threshold.
allow me to join their Facebook, even though I wasn't in the neighborhood, just for that sole purpose that if members of the community needed to reach out to their council member, that they could ask me questions, and if I didn't know, I could get answers from staff.
Well, and I think we need
provide
to
that
recognize
information.
your effort as well. I mean, I think you've been a good supporter with them since this process has gone through, and you've offered some great direction and guidance as well, I think, from the council side of things. So I wish you all the best. I truly, truly hope that we get this thing, over the finish line, because I think that, we all know what the outcome is if it doesn't. Yes. So.
I'd like to say thank you to Rebecca and all of her friends and other neighbors and everybody else that has been involved. I apologize that I don't know everybody's names, but I know Rebecca's. So anyway, I'm going to say Rebecca and her friends. Anyway, I know it took a lot of work and a lot of hard effort to educate everybody in the neighborhood about how important this is. And I commend you for what you did. And I'm thankful that, and I'd like, as we approach some of the other neighborhoods on this, I'd like your input and advice on how to take and help them to understand how important it is for property values and neighborhood everything. Anyway, thank you guys. We all appreciate it.
And I just want to add, I actually have a tremendous amount of faith that this is going to pass because I've seen what you guys are doing in that neighborhood. I walk in it every day. And I actually really love that this grassroots has happened because I think I don't want to speak for you, but I hope that it's bringing your neighborhood to closer together and building a bond. And I think great things happen when grassroots actions and communities get involved. So I am 100% in awe of what you've done. I'm in favor of supporting you. And I think my only thing is just make sure every single person knows those ballots are going out. Because I had a friend in the neighborhood who's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I never got it. So I think because we do get bombarded with junk mail these days, I think things do easily get, and then also our mailboxes, we drive to them a lot of times. And I know sometimes things fall through. So just that would be my only thing. And I'm sure you already knew that. So I'm probably being redundant. But I believe you guys have a great chance. I have all the faith in the world. And I will be praying for you and sending good love to Quail Run.
Because I have no doubt they know who said yes, and they're going to, reach out a second time around and meet with them, and whether they could harvest the ballots and bring them down to the city or make sure they somehow get the resident to bring it to the city. They already have plans in place of how they're going to. I think they are so determined to see this over the finish line, just like we are. And so I definitely put my faith in you guys.
And good job to you, Travis. I didn't compliment you. You're doing,
Travis did great on this.
It's a
yes.
team effort, let's put it that way.
But it's nice when you've got the team.
Yes, absolutely.
I know our city manager is looking to jump in here.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, Council, I just wanted to add in for the benefit of the public and the folks here from the neighborhood, just to reiterate, too, that should this council give direction to reballot, the property owners will be the ones mailed the ballots. So it just came to mind as Vice Mayor Howes discussed neighbors. That could be true, but they must be the property owners who will be sent the ballots, and those ballots will be counted. So if they're tenants and not property owners, they would not be the voters. So just clarification.
We have learned that there's 25% of the neighborhood are rentals and they are tenants, but 75% are the actual homeowners. that they have met with. So, yes, just give you that little extra tidbit.
Well, thank you again for your hard work, for your dedication. I'm honored to sit here and support you tonight for myself and to move forward, and let's get this reballoted. And if there's anything I can do along the process, please let me know.
And if I could do the honors to make the motion.
Please do.
To reballot all property owners within the Quail Run Estates LAD with the proposed annual assessment of the $268.08 per lot, with all costs associated with the reballoting process to be assumed by the current LAD and returned to council for a public hearing on July 21st, 2026 to count the ballots and make that final determination.
Can I second it?
Okay, we have a motion made by Councilman Payden, seconded by Councilwoman Regan.
I don't do it very often.
Congratulations. Good luck. Let's get it done.
And I just wanted to, Russ, this might be a question for you or Alvin. So the ballots will be mailed. You mentioned something about Friday, but the ballots could go out as soon as tomorrow.
We're going to try and get them out tomorrow, but they have to be postmarked by Friday.
They have to be postmarked by Friday. So make sure the neighbors know that here they come.
If we have to go down to the post office and stand in line to get them all mailed, we'll do it.
All right. Thank you so much for doing that extra work. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
We appreciate you.
Okay, so we'll move on to the next item on the agenda, council reports or general reports. Council have anything?
I just wanted to give a shout out to Jason. We received that email and that information about the cleanup of the homeless areas and making our, just all the team that have worked together to make those areas look a lot nicer. And I appreciate the before and after pictures. Just wanted to give you a shout out on that. But also Russ and Brad, I want to shout out with the plunge. There's a lot of work that's been going on. Brad, I've been going, as I was driving by, I see tons of lifeguards going through training and getting ready for our community, and also with the slide and all the efforts that Russ and to get that approved and up and going for the enjoyment of our kids. So I just want to give you guys a shout out as well, and thank you for all that work.
Anyone else?
So KCAO has, they had done a big remodel of the Clay Center Head Start building, and we broke ground on it a year ago. And then just this Thursday, we get to go on our preliminary tour of it as a board member, and then it will be open, assuming all the approvals and all the things, inspections and all that stuff go well, for the next school year in August. So that's exciting news for KCAO. They've gotten KCAO, I can't remember the exact amounts, but they've gotten a couple good sizable donations from or vendors, I should say. So that's been good, going towards the shelter and the community pantry and soup kitchen or food kitchen. And there was nothing to report from KCAG or CART. Nothing new, other than one thing I just felt like we were talking about at CART last week was that there's a lot of people don't know this, but there's a dial-a-ride service. So you can dial a ride you just have to give 24 hours notice, and it is door-to-door service. And it's incredibly low cost. I believe it's $1.50 to $3. Don't quote me on that. That all the information's online. But I just felt like if you know anybody who ever has a hard time making it to their medical appointments, I've heard of that a lot in our community. People using Uber and things of that nature, which are more expensive. Just know there is the CART dial-a-ride, and it's a great service. So I just wanted to let the community know that there was that available. And then there's also a lot of, if you know any students going to either Lemoore College or COS, there's really great bus passes that are incredibly inexpensive for the entire semester. So with gas prices rising, I think we might see that more people using buses. So I just wanted to let people know, check out the CART website. It's actually a really robust. It serves 2,000 people. Don't quote me on that either. Sorry, I can't remember everything, but it's a lot of people. So I just wanted to make the community aware of the cart services and to check it out because they're pretty robust and they're pretty great.
And so for council and the community, just really quick, so I know there's been discussion, and it's gained some pretty statewide media attention regarding the California TIF regarding the California high-speed rail. As you know, council, we sent a letter in opposition out on that, and that's been some kind of concern about, the city, taking action, and there's been some comments made about the city wanting to sue the California High-Speed Rail Authority on things. I just want to clear the air so everyone's fully aware that the transportation improvement fee that they are considering has not passed legislation. It is not law. The letter of opposition that we sent was in opposition to the legislation, so it didn't go that way. So I just want to, so the community is aware of that we have not taken a negative stance on that. We were just opposed to the potential legislation, but it is not passed. It's not law. We're not looking to sue California High-Speed Rail.
I think that the information that was out there, I believe in the Fresno Bee, or what it showed that Mayor Jerry Dyer was saying, is we're prepared. These 9 cities are prepared to move forward in the event that it becomes a negative impact on the city. But yes, we're not in, no legislation has passed, nothing has been taking place. But, in the event that it is, I'm assuming that it would come back to council to make that decision if we want to move forward in being, code.
Yeah, and we don't want to get out ahead of the,
we don't want to get ahead
of the horse.
But I think it's just a strong stance of all those communities that would be affected by it that has shows some solidarity in saying, hey, we're already prepared. We're going to put up a fight because this is going to have a definite negative impact on each of the cities if this did come to fruition.
Right, and just again for clarification, just so everyone knows, the legislation is not passed.
It has not passed. Absolutely.
The project, the California High-Speed Rail project here in our county is not within the city limits of Hanford. So we're just we kind of got out, to assist the league and the other cities and let California know as the legislation was going through the process that, hey, we don't like this. You're taking some local control away. So we want to be able to have our voices heard, and that's what the purpose of the letter was for. And but it's kind of taken a life of its own because some the mayor up north has been very vocal on it, and it's caused some very, very strong media response. But I just want the council and the community to be well informed that we're not taking that position.
And also the eminent domain, or if they take over. In the past, when they were finding the rail area and those houses in Hanford or in the county that were overtaken by eminent domain, that was done by the High-Speed Rail Authority.
Correct.
And so the High-Speed Rail Authority, there was no legislation needed to go through the eminent domain process, and it's the High-Speed Rail Authority currently, if I understand this correctly, that wants to move forward with this actual action.
That's my understanding as well.
And so legislation may not be needed for this, but thank you, Chris, for any clarifications you can provide.
Well, no further clarifications on that. I think council's explained it well. Actually, I was going to mention, though, there was recently another article that came out about high-speed rail, so staff will be looking into that and looking to bring that back as a potential future item for action, for support, potentially on some more high-speed rail development.
Yeah, because the High-Speed Rail Authority I think it was today or something, it was on Fox 26 that was stating that they were, some new action and minimizing not from a LA to San Francisco, but bringing it very close and the needs and put a price tag along with it and kind of do a redirection. Is that what you were talking about as well? Okay, thank you.
forgot one more thing about CART, and this is something that please share this with people. CART also, our new transit center has beautiful board chambers and conference rooms available to rent. And I can personally tell you, Renewable Solar has become regulars now because our conference room, we have one, and it's always full. So I think they've used them the last 2 weeks, and they absolutely love it there. And the price is right. So Angie wanted me to make sure that the city of Hanford knew that if you ever needed in conference room space, it's there and it's available for rent. And I'm sure Angie would give you guys a deal.
Go ahead, sir.
Council and public, just a couple of quick announcements, but just a reminder to folks that tickets are on sale for Freedom Fest for the 4th. And then I also wanted to piggyback off some of council's discussion on the plunge. Great efforts have been made there. The slide and the pool slide are very close to completion. The inspector actually, they may very well be out this week. And once we have that sign off, then it would be open. So we're close. So I just wanted to make that announcement since I know it's of interest, and I think Lou may even slide down.
All right.
I will go down that slide.
I'm in.
Are we
Me with a good
expanding?
time.
All city council, we should all go slide down.
Are we expanding the hours of the plunge this year?
Yes, we actually have expanded hours and pushed them back later.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I think we'd have a big, huge grand opening if Lou went down the slide.
And
You up for
actually,
that, Lou?
I left that out. We will plan a grand
His bikini
splash for the pool slide.
Anyone else have anything?
The kids are going to be so happy.
Yes, they are.
My son works there, and he says every single day that he lifeguarded last year and taught some lessons, without fail, he got asked all day long, when's the slide going to open? When's the slide going to open? When's the slide going to open? So that might be why I'm a little hard and crazy on everybody, is because I know what kids are saying through my kid, and it's just a hot, hot summer, and I feel like nobody's going to get to go anywhere because of gas prices.
I think we need to tip our hat and recognize staff. And
Yes,
Brad,
good
absolutely.
job, good job, good job.
We put them under a big gun to get this to the finish line, and it's we're I know, but it's a collaborative effort, and staff made it happen, and so it's going to be very impactful for the community.
I appreciate it so much, and so do all the kids of Hanford who swim at the pool.
All right. So, any items for future agenda? Do we need to, I'm just asking, do we need to consider the requests made during public comment for the historic designation of the property on North Dowdy? Is that, or we don't need that on a...
Do we have a current policy for any type of historical designation for homes?
We do. I would encourage the person of interest in that to contact our community development department first before it's a future agenda item for council to consider, because there's fees that are applicable to this. I mean, the person did mention that, but that's action really beyond council discussion on a specific item.
Jennifer, did he provide some contact information that we could forward on to community development? I know he presented the city clerk with information. Okay, thank you.
Okay, no other, so the upcoming events, June 9th, Councilwoman Regan is going to have her Council Connect at the Help You Sell Real Estate office on 7th Street, correct?
107 West 7th Street.
Thank you. So I encourage...
Time is that?
5:30 to 6:30. And we can run later if we need to.
It's not. Yeah. So I encourage anyone to, make themselves available, come on out and visit with Councilwoman. June 16th is our next regular city council meeting, and as the city manager said, Freedom Fest is right around the corner. I'm excited for that. And then we have a little bit of a break after the July 16th meeting, and then our next city council meeting won't be till July 21st. So we have a
June 16th meeting.
June 16th, and then July 21st.
Chris, who is the next council member?
I believe I'm going to peer at Brian or look at Brian. I think it's
Mark.
Oh, yes, we've got, So we're not. So we're good. Myself, along with I believe we had made the request for Chief Huddleston and Chief Perkins, and we're going to do a summer safety kickoff at a Thursday night marketplace. So we get that scheduled. We haven't got it locked down yet that I'm quite sure of. I'm looking at Brian TBD, but we're going to do that before the 4th of July weekend.
Oh, awesome.
Get out there on Thursday night, and that way we can touch on the It's Not Worth It campaign. We can talk about e-bikes. We can talk about the things that we've recently been having to deal with. So it's going to be more of a summer safety approach.
Sure,
Yeah.
great.
So good. So.
And speaking of the campaign signs, Chief, do we have those outside for us? Awesome. Thank you.
And then last thing is it is election night. We do have a TOT on the ballot. Keep our fingers crossed that we get the support of the community, and we'll see how it goes. And other than that, it is 8:38, and the meeting is adjourned.